on Bakery Radio, episode number 105. Now, I recorded the show with Anna last week. She was back on the show. It was an incredible show. It was amazing to have her back. It's been a long time. And I don't know if you heard at the end of the show, I thought it was quite amusing anyway. I said, right, next week I'm going to be interviewing these guys called the Minimalists. And she goes, what? Who? And then the show just ended and it was a bit of a funny ending. So if you wondered ever since the show last week who these guys are, you're going to find out right now. I thought I was going to be introing two men. There's only one man, so this is going to be an even more minimal show, which I suppose suits the theme. I am sat here with Ryan. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name. He's going to pronounce it for me because I'll butcher it. Ryan, hello.
Hello, how are you? My name is Ryan Nicodemus, and yeah, I am one of the Minimalists.
Mate, that is a badass name. Where's it from?
It's Greek, but ironically, we did our family tree like centuries worth of ancestors, and it's all German, turns out, but I'm sure it comes from Greece at some point in time.
You're not very olive-y.
Thank you.
I don't know. So, I suppose the obvious question is, you are the Minimalists. People are going to be thinking, what on earth does this mean? This is kind of a health and fitness based show. We're looking at, pimping your life. What is minimalism? What is the minimalist? Who are you? What do you do? What's your thing?
So that was like 5 questions.
Pick one. We'll start somewhere.
I'll start answering some of them. Yeah. So minimalism, for me, the way I like to look at it is minimalism is a tool that allows people to really do some introspection and look at their lives to decide what is superfluous in their life. It helps them to get rid of distractions. It helps them to make room for the things that are truly important in life, like health and fitness, for sure.
So, were you going to answer more questions? Did I just cut you off?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I can keep going. So yeah, the way I got to I can kind of tell you where this whole journey began for me.
That was going to be my next question, because I think your journey is obviously the most important thing in all of this, really.
Yes, yeah. Really, about 5 years ago, I was working in the corporate world in the United States, kind of living the American dream. I was making a whole lot of money. I had a whole lot of things. I was earning well over 6 figures. I had a 2,000 square foot condo, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2 living rooms. I have no idea why a single guy would ever need 2 living rooms. Had bought a fancy new car every couple of years, and really just kind of consuming as much as I could. And along with that lifestyle came a lot of just really crappy decisions when it came to my health, when it came to my relationships, when it came to me doing things for myself, when it came to growing or contributing beyond a meaningful way. I got to a point where I was miserable. I was stuck, and I drank a lot. I did a lot of drugs, and my life was really going nowhere. Ostensibly, on the outside, my life looked amazing, and people were always saying how successful I was and how I had it made. And the unfortunate thing was I didn't feel successful. I felt a lot of anxiety. I felt a lot of stress. I had heaps of debt. I may have earned a lot of money, but I was spending even better money, and that equation just never works. So I just was kind of in this tornado of a lifestyle. And my friend Josh, my best friend, I've known him since we were fat little 5th graders. I noticed a difference in him after his mom had passed away and after his marriage ended, both in the same month. He had these 2 crazy traumatic experiences happen. And I noticed just some months later that he was dealing really well with those experiences. And we were working at the same corporation, and I noticed he was dealing with work better as well. And I kind of went to him, and I'm like, dude, what is going on with you, man? Like your mom just passed away, your marriage just ended, and you're happier, and you're happier at work too, which is even more confusing because you were just as miserable as me. I'm like, dude, what drugs are you on, man? Like, did they put you on some Prozac? Like, what kind of antidepressants did the doctors put you on? And he's like, no, man, it's nothing like that. He said, I've kind of have been checking out this lifestyle that uses really simple principles, and it's called minimalism. He's like, but let me show you some people who are minimalists besides me, just to kind of give you an idea of what this is all about. And as he started kind of telling me this stuff, I thought, okay, like I know Josh isn't crazy. I know I've known him for over 20 years, and if this is working for him, it might work for me. So he showed me this whole community of people who called themselves minimalists. He introduced me to this guy named Colin Wright, who was a 24-year-old entrepreneur who traveled to a new country every 4 months, carrying with him everything that he owned. Then he showed me this guy named Leo Babauta, who was this 38-year-old husband and father of 6 in San Francisco. And he was a guy who kind of talked about living a minimalist lifestyle, talked about getting healthier, talked about incorporating better habits into his life. He introduced me to this guy named Joshua Becker. He was a 36-year-old husband and father of 3 in Salt Lake City. There's this woman named Courtney Carver, a 40-year-old wife and mother to a teenage daughter in Salt Lake City. And what I saw from all these people were very different recipes of how they were living their lives. No life was exactly the same. Colin, he traveled. Joshua Becker, he was like a pastor, and he had a full-time job, he had a car, he had a house. So I thought, okay, here are all these people who are living really exciting lives, and they're doing what they want to do. They're passionate and they're purpose-driven. They seemed much richer than all of the so-called rich guys I worked with in the corporate world. And they attributed all to this thing called minimalism. So I thought, okay, cool. Like, I think that I might be able to apply some of these principles to my life to really help me kind of get a grip on what was important in my life, because it had gotten to a point really where I didn't know what was important. So I look at Josh and I'm like, all right, this sounds awesome, man. I'm great. I'm a minimalist. Now what the heck do I do? I didn't really know where to start. So for me, it started with this thing called a packing party, where we decided to pack all my belongings as if I were moving. So everything in my 2,000 square foot condo, I literally packed everything up as if I were moving. And then I unpacked things as I needed it day by day for 3 weeks. So Josh came over and helped me box up everything: my clothes, my kitchenware, my towels, my TVs, my electronics, my framed photographs and paintings, my toiletries, even my furniture, everything. We literally pretended like I was moving. So that first night, you can imagine, I unpacked my toiletries, bed and bed sheets, some clothes for work the next day. The next day I came home, I unpacked the internet. I unpacked, the satellite TV, all of my pacifiers. But what was really surprising about that whole experience was at the end of those 21 days, I still had 80% of my stuff still packed in boxes, just sitting there unaccessed. And I looked at all those boxes and I was like, I don't even remember what's in these. Most of them I couldn't even remember. So I donated and I sold everything. And that was kind of the beginning of the minimalists.com. It was with that 21-day packing party story. After I had that experience, I went to Josh and I'm like, dude, I think we should start a website like these other guys. This was a really valuable experience for me, and it really has taught me a lot. And in our new book, Everything That Remains, in chapter 11, we kind of go through that experience in detail. And we had some really good conversations about what was important to us. And I'll tell you, the first thing I thought of when I was sitting there looking at all of those boxes, I thought, wow, look at all the time I've spent making money to buy all of these things that are in these boxes, and I'm not even using them. I could have spent that time exercising, or I could have spent that time going out and buying healthy meals instead of using the excuse of, oh, well, I'm too busy. I'm going to skip going to the gym today or this week or whatever it is. And I'm going to eat fast food. I don't have time to make healthy meals. And that's the first thing we talk about in our book, Live a Meaningful Life, is health. But then it also uncovered other things, like I mentioned earlier, about relationships and doing things for myself, pursuing some type of passion, or cultivating a passion, growing, contributing in a meaningful way. So, kind of in a nutshell, I know I kind of rambled there, but that's kind of the beginning of everything.
I kind of I see a little bit of that in me, probably accidentally. Actually, I moved a lot when I was younger because I would never sit still. I was never happy with what I was doing. I moved to uni in the space of 2 weeks. I was like, right, I'm going to uni, and I just went, and I was there within 2 weeks. I moved in the back of a car. Then I moved to a different part of the country in the back of a car. Then I moved 4 times in 3 years, just in the boot of a car. And I don't really have a lot more stuff now. Now I'm buying a house very soon. I'm going to have a lot more stuff because you need a sofa and things like that. But I always found that actually not having all that stuff never really tied me down as much, because you just don't. Although it's not clutter mentally, but just having stuff around you almost binds you to kind of memories and thought processes and habits. But like you're saying, a guy that flies around the world, is an entrepreneur, probably just has his laptop and a few basic clothes and a toothbrush, and
Right.
realistically, essentially, that's all you really need.
Yeah, definitely. I think the physical clutter can definitely be this outward manifestation of what's going on the inside. I know for me that was true. I was trying to fill this void with stuff, thinking that this stuff was going to make me happy. I was trying to fit a life into this home that I purchased. And really, what I do now is, instead of cramming my life into something, I make decisions that are appropriate for my lifestyle. And you're right, it's different for everyone. Yeah, if you're going to get a house, you're going to have different needs than I do, who's living in a 1 bedroom, or I guess it's 1.5 bedroom apartment. But yeah, it's a very individualized, case by case basis. I don't think any minimalist would claim to have like the same number of the same exact thing.
Sure. So I suppose an interesting question is, choosing a more minimal life, did that change your perception of how you viewed your health and like almost your fitness? And did you kind of almost force yourself to say, actually, because I'm adopting this kind of minimal lifestyle, I need to pay attention how I feel, and the kind of input and output that's going on emotionally in my life as well as physically? And did you kind of, I suppose, change to a more healthy lifestyle naturally? Did it become part of being minimalist?
Yeah, no, health was a huge part. When I was when Josh and I were having those conversations after the packing party, and I was talking to him about what I want my priorities to be, health, like I said, it was at the top of my list, because I'm sure many other people can relate with this. I gave all of my priorities lip service. I said that health was important to me. But instead, I was eating unhealthy. I never exercised, and I always made excuses to not pay attention to my health. And our priorities are what we actually do. So when I went down this journey, that was something that I definitely started to pay attention to and live more deliberately for. So now with my health, I'm pescatarian, so I eat seafood, fish. I do dairy, things like that. I'm not saying that anything that I don't eat is bad. It's a diet that works for me, and I feel good when I eat that way. And I think that's ultimately what health comes down to. Health isn't. I don't think it's about having vanity muscles. I think being healthy is a very broad term. You don't have to have vanity muscles in order to be healthy. I think healthy is feeling good. And I feel really, really good now. And I very much deliberately choose the food I put into my body, and the days that I exercise, and really have instilled better habits in my life due to simplifying my life, due to decluttering my life, just getting the superfluous things out of my way. Or another way of looking at it is just kind of getting all of those distractions and all of that noise out of the way, so I could make better decisions, especially when it comes to health. Because you can have everything in the world. If you don't have your health, then you've got nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I think you've made a beautiful segue into kind of my next thought process, in that the health and fitness space that I'm in can be intensely orthorexic, in that, people get hold of the health and fitness thing, they really ride with it. And you've just talked about, being vain, having muscles, and vanity, for me, is not a curse. It's a beautiful thing if people attack it in the right way, because it forces you to be really concerned about your physical image, and your physical image is important. But the fitness industry can be very orthorexic in that it kind of takes over their life. Like training and health and fitness becomes the dominant thing, and actually balance, which was possibly one way, being in the fact that their diet might have been very unhealthy and they were living the real high life in terms of the social aspect of alcohol and bad food. Then they shift the other way and it becomes really healthy. And I think an awful lot of people do actually find it difficult to strike the balance of how much exercise they need to do, how much healthy food they need to eat, but also how much they need to go out and see their friends, nurture relationships, have a couple of drinks and get tipsy and sit under the stars and talk about shit all night. But we kind of lose that, and I think we can take a huge amount away from what you're saying already with the minimalist thing in terms of how people view their body and where balance lies.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think again, even when it comes to health, when it comes to diet, when it comes to exercise, I think the answers to those questions are all very much highly individual. So it depends on what that individual's goals are. It depends on how they're feeling. It depends on any current health complications or risks they have. Everyone's going to have different answers. And yeah, I definitely think that this type of lifestyle, it does allow people to make those really important decisions, and it helps them to pick exactly what is suitable for their life or appropriate for their life. I really like that word, appropriate.
I think other than distancing yourself from other people, because I think other people can influence people's decisions very highly, and this is where mainstream media has played a role in what we think are our goals. Would you have any tips for anyone to sit down and have an honest conversation with themselves to actually work out what really their goals are? Because I speak to people about their goals. I'm like, hey Dave, what are your goals? And he starts going on and listing all these things, and I'm sitting there thinking, there's no way they're your goals. You just think they're your goals. There's no actual real honesty or passion or drive in them. You've just created them from stuff you've seen or stuff you've read or the goals of others.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually I have a mentoring business that I do, and I help people kind of sort out their goals. And one of the main things that I look at when it comes to goals, so I'll just talk about me personally. When I have an idea, when I think, okay, this is the goal that I want. Let's say that it is health wise, and it has to do with getting a bunch of vanity muscles. Okay, so that's what I have in my head. I want to have a bunch of vanity muscles. That's my goal. Whenever I get any goal in my thoughts, I think to myself, okay, what is the ultimate outcome I want from this? I call this the ultimate success formula, which I am totally bogarting from a guy named Tony Robbins. This is a condensed version of what he talks about. His is a 45-minute story about Sylvester Stallone. I won't bore you with that story, but I think about what is my outcome. For me, that's step number one with this formula. And if I look at vanity muscles, I mean, that's a pretty obvious outcome. I want to have vanity muscles. But then the second part of the outcome really helps me to think about that goal. And the second part is asking why I want that particular outcome. Why do I want vanity muscles? Is it because I want to just, have a bunch of girls chasing me? I mean, is that a good reason? Sure, that'd be a good reason for some people. But ultimately, that is probably not the best reason to get vanity muscles. If I wanted to, compete in bodybuilding, if I wanted to, be a model, whatever it may be, I really have to understand the why behind the goal that I have in my head. And if that why, if it doesn't, if it doesn't excite me enough, or B, if it doesn't align with my values and beliefs, then I can kind of cross out that goal automatically, or at least relook at what that goal is, and maybe reshape what I want that goal to be. And then the last part of the ultimate success formula is taking massive action. So I write down what kind of action am I going to have to take in order to reach this goal. And sometimes when I write out all the action steps and I write out what it does take to do whatever it is, sometimes it's too much. And I look at it and I'm like, this is something that I would have to put at the front of my life, and I would have to cut out some other things, and I just can't afford to do that right now. So now I'm going to have to, again, either kind of brush that aside, save it for later, or just readjust the goal to see exactly what the outcome is that I want. Maybe there is something I can do that does work with the current life that I have. But I do that with every single business idea or product, whatever it is, where I get these inspirational things I get all excited about. I really have to put myself in a place where I can look at it from a very realistic standpoint.
Nice. And this is, I think this is a good formula as well, because this almost circumnavigates people's fear. Because a lot of the time people will have a big goal, and let's use your example, you want to get a load of vanity muscles, and people don't really think about the variables, which is exactly what you've talked about. You've talked about basically sitting down with a pen and a paper and going, right, what do I need to outline? What's the why? Right, I need to go to the gym 4 days a week. I need to do this with my diet. And when you write these things down and you see the magnitude of the task, it's not to say you should be put off by the task, but you can then sit there and go, actually, it's not quite for me. It's not actually in line with my goals. Whereas most people go, I want to do this thing, so I dive full bore into it. I get a gym membership. I go every day of the week. I start eating chicken salad. And then 3 weeks later, you stop because you didn't actually think about the magnitude of the task beforehand, and then go, and then you fail. And then because you failed once, you're not really up for taking a risk again. You're not really up for taking a plunge into health and fitness again. I think this is one reason why people get put off by health and fitness, because you try it once, you go full bore, it's a massive challenge, and then they're like, whoa, this health and fitness stuff is way too much. I suppose this is why we as coaches in the fitness industry talk about habit change. And this ties in again with being minimal. Let's not go to the gym 5 days a week and live on chicken salads. For the first week, let's just try and increase our water intake. Let's try and go for a walk 3 times a week. And I can see how this is all tying in.
Yeah, no, that's a great point too that you bring up about kind of doing just a little bit at a time. Because that's something else that I really talk to my clients about a lot is, instead of starting this crazy exercise routine that you're going to commit to, 5 days a week or 6 days a week, just, start a little bit at a time and kind of stair step up to that 6 days a week or that 7 days a week. Because like you said, sometimes you take things on too much, you're really excited about it, and then all of a sudden you realize how hard it is, how much work it is, and you kind of lose that excitement. And that can be directly related with just kind of diving in head first instead of really having a plan to change your habits. Because especially getting vanity muscles, those are some really big habits that people are going to have to change. It takes a lot of work to do that. It's easier said than done, for sure.
I think the why thing, this now starts to tie in to something else, because I wanted to bring up like people's financial goals, because I think this is a huge stumbling block for a lot of people, in that people have a huge attachment to finances and success, and this is rightly so, because everyone wants to build the perfect life and have nice things and that kind of thing. But when you talk to people about their goals, it's amazing how many people will come out with the figure of £1 million.
Yeah.
What? Oh, tell me one of your dreams, Dave. Oh, I want to earn £1 million. Why? What's £1 million going to change? Well, I'm going to be able to buy this and I'm going to be able to buy that. And it's like the health and fitness thing, right? Someone's really unhealthy, they eat crap and they don't do any exercise, and then all of a sudden they go to the gym, they go 5 days a week. They're trying to helicopter up to the top of the mountain straight away. Now, when people look at this goal of finances, I want to earn £1 million. Think of it a different way. Or I'm now stuck, because I do a load of this kind of coaching as well. And I say to people, how much do you earn right now? Oh, I earn about £30,000 a year. Okay, £30,000 a year, that's the average wage for an awful lot of people in the UK. What would it do to your life if we doubled that? £60,000. And then that person starts to sit there and go, oh my God, actually, if I saved all that money, £30,000, that's a house deposit on a small house. That's a new car every year. So automatically, you can actually change your life with quite a minimal step from what is a huge goal for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is funny how many people will say, "Oh, I just want $1 million. Or I just want to make however much a year," and they don't really know why they want to make $1 million. I was in the same boat. I was, 25 years old, climbing the corporate ladder. I'm like, I'm going to be a millionaire one day. This is going to be awesome. But, the thought of being a millionaire, I didn't really know why I wanted it. Just, I grew up with money being such a point of discontent that I thought if I could just make as much money as possible, that everything would be okay. But yeah, it's funny how many people do associate $1 million with happiness, and it doesn't take much. What I always tell my clients is this: write down what is going to make you happy. What are your values and beliefs, and take out all monetary and physical items from that. If you were to ask someone on their deathbed what makes you happy, they're not going to list any monetary or physical items. They're going to list things like relationships, love, experiences, things like that. And what I always have my clients do is, okay, now that once they have that figured out, like now that you know what's important to you, what makes you happy, and you've taken money out of it, go do those things. That's what that's what makes you happy. And if you make money along the way, great, that's awesome. But that's not what it's about, for sure.
I use a tool in my practice quite a bit called a gratitude log. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah. I actually started one.
See, so I posted this on Facebook today. I set a challenge for all the people that follow my page, and luckily, a lot of people are on board. But I love this tool because, what we're now starting to bring up in terms of this minimalist concept is love, friends, relationship, family, this kind of stuff. And I can't remember who I was listening to. He's a great guy. I love his work. His name might come to me in a minute. And he was sort of expanding on the topic that humans are naturally quite negative, and it's a self kind of defense mechanism. And we're all awesome at doing the smallest things in our daily routine and focusing on that negative and actually carrying it through the whole day. And we get to bed and we're still thinking about that negative thing that might have happened at breakfast time, and it's sort of governed our whole day. And the beauty of the gratitude log is you get people to lie in bed, and people will feel really silly when they first start doing this task. But, I say to people, I want you to lie in bed and I want you to write down crazy stuff like, I love my dog because I love how it jumps on my lap and licks my face and that kind of thing. And you can't write that down without smiling. Like straight away you put a smile on your face. But, what you're talking about with minimalism, I'm trying to get people to focus on all those kind of minimalistic things in their life rather than, oh, I'm feeling negative because I haven't been able to buy that car yet, or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I really appreciate about this whole journey and about the minimalistic philosophy. It really has made me just the happiest person I've ever been, and it really is due to the simple things in life and being able to appreciate the simple things. I think a gratitude journal is a great way to do that because it does kind of outline the privileges that we do have that we overlook way too often.
When you started doing your gratitude log, what were some of the things that you wrote down?
I wrote silly things down like being able to have lunch with my girlfriend, or being able to see friends or talk to my family that day, going on a walk, watching a sunset. I mean, I live in Montana, so it's beautiful mountains around here, beautiful sunsets.
Nice.
Just really simple things that really most people have access to.
Okay. So let's use you as a bit more of an example to actually give people some stuff to take away from this podcast rather than us just rambling on about minimal things. So you adopted this theory, you did this unpacking party, and that was kind of the facilitator of all this kind of movement for you.
Mm-hmm.
You boxed up all your stuff, you unpacked 20%, 80% remained. What happened after that point where you had 80% of stuff left to where you are right now, and how can people listening to this podcast adopt some of those changes to bring some positivity out of your journey for them?
Yeah, so after the packing party, when I went to Josh and I said, hey, we should start a website like these other folks who are minimalists. I think we have a story that is unique and people would get value from. And so that's really where the website started. It was kind of on a whim. That was over 3 years ago. And we got probably 100,000 views like in the first 6 months. I mean, it was crazy. Just the reaction we were getting from this. And I thought, hey man, we're the minimalists. We should write a book. So we wrote a book called Minimalism, Live a Meaningful Life. And we published that right on a year after we started the website. And from there, we've written what our latest book, Everything That Remains, that we're on tour for. We'll be in the UK, and pretty much all of October we'll be in the UK, all around, in Ireland as well. But really, what this whole journey and what this lifestyle has really shown me is that there's a recipe that Josh has, my co-author. There's a recipe that I have when it comes to minimalism. They're two different recipes. Everyone that you'll see online, they all have different recipes. What I've really seen is that there are people from all walks of life, people on all different parts of the socioeconomic spectrum, who are able to benefit from these recipes. No one will be able to make the exact recipe that I have or Josh has, but there are certainly ingredients there that people can pull out and apply to their own lives to help them to really figure out what's important. Because I think there's a lot of people now who, they're being told what makes them happy. They're being told what's important. They're being told what is going to lead them to the perfect life. But they're not feeling that. And minimalism really helped me to get down to my core and really helped me to understand what did make me happy and to help me feel it.
Nice. I see this in, I coach an awful lot of personal trainers, do a lot of my seminars to them, and a huge thing that I talk to them about when we cover any kind of sort of business and lifestyle stuff is that, most personal trainers, yes, they've got a passion for helping people, but they took that step a lot of the time to be self-employed and have their own business to create flexibility. And then you get caught in the trap of, and personal trainers are typical for working the worst hours in the world, like 6 in the morning till 10 a.m., get like 4 hours off, and then they're working like evening, earlier afternoon and evenings again. And it, really screws up your day working those kind of times and having the lunchtime free. And you get caught in the rat race and you earn a bit more money, and then you get to, a certain figure and you're working 50, 60 hours a week, and then all of a sudden you hit that money threshold, and it's like, well, how do you back off? Because no one wants to earn less. And it's a very hard concept to earn less. So I suppose, do you have any advice for people? Let's say someone's earning £40,000 a year, is unhappy with their position, is unhappy with the amount of hours they're working, is not getting to see their family enough. What words of wisdom, I suppose, can you give them to say, right, give up 10 hours a week, start earning £30,000, and kind of make more time for your family and whatever you want to make time for?
Yeah, if there's someone in that situation, and I just want to say that's not going to make everyone happy just by working less and making less money. I mean, minimalism is not about deprivation or making less money, but the situation you're referring to specifically, I think, and I have had many clients who are in this situation where they're just not happy with their job, and they're not happy with the way their job demands their time, and they don't feel like they have control over their time. What I would say to someone is that if they are in that situation where they really need to leave their job to allow time in their lives to make room for the truly important things, to make time for their values and beliefs, I would start with a wants, likes, needs list. This is where I started with my journey. After that packing party, I sat down and I'm like, okay, I make, I was making a lot of money, and I thought, okay, I don't need to make this much money. How much money can I get down to? And I didn't really know how to go about that. So what I did is I took 2 months of inventory that I had spent money on, and I wrote down I wrote down 3 columns: likes, wants, needs. In the likes column, I put everything down that I was paying for, and I kind of liked. I didn't really want it. It was just kind of convenient. Like, I don't know, like that membership to the country club that I was supposed to, belong to and network with all the bigwigs in the community. I had it. I didn't really use it. It was great when I had clients. I liked it. I didn't really want it. I just had paid for it. So then I went to my wants. My wants was a brand new car. Really loved buying a new car every couple of years. That was kind of my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted it, didn't really need it. And then in my needs category, I wrote down what my needs were. I need a car. I need a roof over my head. I need hot water. I need electricity. People will call me out all the time for not being a minimalist because of having electricity. But but anyway, that's a need for me. So what I was able to do after I took down all of this inventory and kind of divided them in these lists is I automatically got rid of my likes right off the bat, 100% of them. My wants, I got rid of 100% of my wants. I got rid of my car, my new car. I got a car that didn't have a car payment. I wanted a 2,000 square foot condo, didn't need it. I rented my condo out, got a much smaller place. I simplified my life to the point where I could have lived off of $30,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I would really encourage people to start. If that's what they need to do in their situation, if they need to work less, is I would start with a like, wants, needs list. That's a really quick and easy way to kind of figure out how much expendable income people do have per month, and that'll be different for everyone, obviously.
Nice, cool tips. I like it. You're doing a tour around the UK. Mm-hmm. Why? It's miserable over here. Whenever I interview anyone internationally, they go, "So, how's the weather over there?" As they sit there smugly in their hot climate.
Oh, I can't wait to visit over there. I've never been off the continent, so I'm really looking forward to it.
So you're one of those Americans without a passport?
I have a passport, yeah. I mean, I've been to Canada. I've been to Mexico.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. I know that the UK is, definitely has a different approach when it comes to this lifestyle. When it comes to living what a minimalist is. So I'm really looking forward to kind of getting a different viewpoint of from the folks in the UK. But yeah, what I do know is that people in the UK are still getting benefits from this type of lifestyle. I'm looking forward to see, if there's any different benefits that people get over in the UK than from the United States.
Mm-hmm. How on earth can you afford to do such a massive tour for no money? Because you're giving away the tickets.
Yeah, this is probably the worst financial decision we can make because we lose a ton of money on tour.
Yeah,
you're right about that. But
are you taking donations at the door?
What's that?
Are you taking donations at the door?
No,
it's
no
like,
donations
for us to get
door.
home, can you leave us some coppers and buttons?
No donations. No donations at the door. We've had the website for over 3 years now. We've done really well with our book, Everything That Remains. We did a little bit better last year financially than we did the year before, and we had the income to do it. And I was like, dude, let's not. We were like, dude, let's not charge for these. We were talking about doing the tour, and the benefits that we get from spreading our message, from readers coming up to us and just thanking us for the work that we do. Just really sharing our stories is what we believe in, and monetary reward is kind of it's the opportunity cost. The important stuff is the experiences that we get on the road, and we really, really wanted to do that. So no, this is not about making money. This is really just about us going out and trying to contribute, and trying to help people grow. We're also passionate about this too. So.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I will be at your talk. Your talk is in London on the 8th of October.
That is correct.
And do you have any idea on numbers? Because the emails keep going out to announce your date and is it in some kind of bar?
It is. I'm going to pull up the location right now, but it is. I know we've got seating for it's about 600 people.
Wow.
And it's yes, we will definitely fill those 600.
I can imagine. Yeah. I'm going to get there early because I think it's going to be a free for all and a fight.
Our crowds are generally pretty tame. They're very, very, very kind. I don't think there'd be any fights, man. It's usually pretty good crowd for sure. I don't think it's at a bar though. I'm trying to pull it up here. Is it at a bar?
I swear it's like it's called like Dooley's, or it's got a really weird name.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was like a venue. You know, we have an employee now, and he's kind of booking all of those venues. But yeah, I know it's going to hold 600 people, and it'll definitely be a full house. There's no doubt.
I'm furiously trying to find the location now as well. You've got me intrigued.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Oh, you have got
it. It is at loading the Doodle Bar in Testbed. It must be a venue.
I was right. The Doodle Bar.
Yeah, you're on it, man.
Yeah,
you're on it.
I am on it. I'm on the whiskey. Whew.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, maybe I'll meet you down there and have a pint with you then.
We will. Right. We need to tell people where they can go and find information out about you. Obviously, you've got the Minimilist.com.
Yeah, the Minimalists.com. People can go there and find out all the information on us and get more tour info for the different cities and venues and times and all that stuff.
And your books, you've got 2. They're both called...
the first one is Minimalism, Live a Meaningful Life. And then the one that we're on tour for right now is Everything That Remains.
Awesome. And anything like Twitter that you want to tell people about or anything like that?
Yeah, they can find us at The Minimalists on Twitter.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much for being on the show. It's been great having you on. I think, I really hope people take some cool stuff away from it and pick up some tips, because I think there's some gems in there. Hey, everyone, look, if you've enjoyed the show, please do us the honour of leaving us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. When it goes out on Facebook, Twitter, hit the like, hit the share. Help spread the message, help these guys get their message out, and help me keep growing the show. I will be back on the show with Rachel next week looking at your Q&As. We'll be going over that furiously, and I've got a big rant with a particular topic coming on. But again, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. Really appreciate you having me on.
You are welcome. Hey everyone, Ben Cooper Radio, episode number 104. I'm going to try and do a bit of an old school rap. It goes something like, back to the old school. Nah, it's not going to work. Anyway,